Hello guys, I'm going to teach you how to work with the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi being a very portable and small computer, we're going to learn how to work with it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is how to download the operating system. Because it's a computer, it requires an operating system. So we're going to be using the Raspbian OS. I'm going to teach you how to download it. It's open source and it's free. So we're going to learn how to download and install into the Raspberry Pi. So after that, we're going to learn how to access the Raspberry Pi remotely from anywhere. As far as you have an internet connection, we're going to learn how to access the Raspberry Pi using Mobax Term. With Mobax Term, you'll be able to access the Raspberry Pi remotely, access the files, copy files, run commands, write programs, run codes. You can do all of that remotely. So after which we're going to learn other means of accessing Raspberry Pi remotely using VNC Viewer. So we're going to learn how to interface VNC Viewer to the Raspberry Pi. After which we are going to learn how to use Bitwise. Bitwise is another software that enables you to access the Raspberry Pi remotely. After which we are going to learn how to access the Raspberry Pi remotely using PuTTY. So PuTTY is also very wonderful. So we're going to learn how to use PuTTY, how we're going to SSH into the Raspberry Pi using PuTTY. So after this, we will learn how to write basic Python programs that will be able to blink LEDs in the Raspberry Pi. We're able to blink LEDs, after which we're going to learn how to interface the buzzer to the Raspberry Pi. After that, we will be learning how to interface the press button switch to the Raspberry Pi. Then after that, we'll be writing Python programs to interface sensors like gas sensor. We're going to see how to work with gas sensor. We're going to see how to work with motion sensor also. We're going to also see how to interface the servo motor to the Raspberry Pi. And finally, we will learn how to interface the ultrasonic sensor to the Raspberry Pi. So at the end of this video, you will be able to learn and must have mastered each of these areas. You must have mastered how to interface sensors to the Raspberry Pi. You must have mastered how to access the Raspberry Pi remotely. You must have mastered how to even install the operating system yourself. So all of this will be done very detailed. So let's begin.